Eaton Centre shooter Christopher Husbands will soon be sentenced for a second time here at the University Avenue Courthouse after a jury found him guilty of double manslaughter instead of his original conviction of second-degree murder. Tonight we take a look at the possible outcomes of a new sentence that is expected to be much lighter. How much will time already served be taken into account?
All of the time that he spent would be subtracted from any sentence imposed.
What's your last name, please?
Husbands.
What is it?
Husbands.
The 29-year-old who argued he suffered from PTSD at the time of the shooting has already spent 7 years behind bars after his first trial resulted in a life sentence without parole for 30 years. With his new downgraded conviction of manslaughter, Husbands has a much better chance of walking free one day. Lawyer Jessica Greenwood has been keeping a close eye on the case. So let's say he gets 25 years, which is life here, right? Minus credit, time served, all that. I mean, he could be walking in 10 years, maybe less.
That's always possible, but know that the Parole Board of Canada takes their role very seriously. And when someone applies for parole, even if they're eligible, it doesn't mean that they automatically get it. They're going to have a hearing. The Parole Board will seek victim input. They'll look at the impact on the community and the victims, and then they'll make a decision.
The PTSD argument stems from an ambush attack that happened months before the Eaton Centre shooting. Husbands was brutally beaten, stabbed more than 20 times and left for dead. His defense claims his mental state was triggered that day in the mall when he saw his attackers. Husbands opened fire inside the food court, killing 2 men and wounding 5 others. The new manslaughter conviction came after 6 days of deliberation in a retrial that was granted because of a technical error in jury selection. The original verdict took a matter of hours. This time around, pieces of information from the first trial were left out. In the retrial, the jury did not hear testimony from Connor Stevenson, a 13-year-old boy who was shot in the head. The jury also didn't hear that Husbands was out on bail and under house arrest for sexual assault at the time of the shooting. And it was not revealed that Husbands was convicted of second-degree murder and was currently serving a life sentence without parole for 30 years. So why in second trials are pieces of information that were really important to the first trial, why are they left out?
I can see how the public would think that that is strange and unfair. But the trial judge's job in any trial is to ensure that the accused has the most fair trial possible. And trial judges have the right to exclude evidence that they think is prejudicial, that they think is going to cause the jury to be focused on the wrong aspects, the wrong evidence. So, for example, if he was on bail for a sexual assault, well, then he must have done this. And so it's excluding pieces of evidence that the judge feels would really impact the accused's ability to have a fair trial in front of that jury.
This guy's going to 16. He's 13.
What about testimony of the 13-year-old?
I think that that may have impacted on the outcome, but the judge would have had to have very good reasons for why he made that decision.
Christopher Husbands will be making a brief appearance here at the courthouse tomorrow morning. The judge will be setting a date for sentencing.